start over, and wishing you were dumb, deaf, and blind, and you could just start over because your system of value has so been corrupted by being put through the ringer, somebody's idea of what the ringer should be, and you waking up as an adult and realizing that all the lessons you were taught, the things that are important and all these things, is all a bunch of crap.
But isn't the realization that everything is wrong proof that you have stumbled onto some sort of a reality, some sort of a truth?
Well, realizing what you don't like doesn't mean you necessarily know what you do like.
Well, it seems like kind of a cynical perspective.
Well, it'll do it to you.
Okay. Porno for Pyros, I guess debuted at number 3 in the charts, and then Primus came in at number 7 or something here. It says, and Lollapalooza is a great success, and everybody seems to be talking about this, the golden new age of alternative music, or the upward surge of the alternative scene.
Right.
Is this cause for optimism on your part, or do you distance yourself from that scene?
I think anything ultimately survives or thrives on how good the talent is. I mean, 5 years ago, rap seemingly was, at least in America, was the focus of a lot of artistic attention, and at the time seemed fresh and groundbreaking, and now it's grounded into such a cliche formula that it's no longer considered a valid new art form. It's just been absorbed into, the big crucible that is the music business. And I think alternative music has headed that way.
Yeah.
And what will perpetuate whether alternative music as like a field of music is going to continue, is whether the bands continue to be innovative and reach new audiences. But the fact that suddenly people are selling lots of records doesn't necessarily mean that they're doing a good job of it. I mean, you have to recognize that bands in 1985 were breaking down doors to make it possible to achieve bigger audiences. And then slowly over time, people have come to accept alternative music in general as like something that's not too scary.
Do you have any problem with that category, that pigeonhole, alternative music?
Well, not really, in the sense that I still consider it meaning, not the mainstream, but alternative music itself is becoming very cliche. I mean, we've faced it enough where it's like if you play loud, you're a grunge band. But anybody who knows anything about the differences in the American music scene know that we're not a grunge band. But just because grunge is the number one focus of rock music, anybody else who plays loud is grunge. That's what I mean. It's also silly. I distance myself away from it as much as I can because to me it's not really important. Because I've heard it a million times. It really comes down to how good your songs are. And if you write good songs, it's been proven that bands with great songs are the ones that last in people's memory. I mean, just because like a band like Television had a different aesthetic, but yet they wrote great songs, people still listen to Television, or the Velvet Underground, or Bow Wow Wow, or whoever. It doesn't really matter.
Do you think
because this is the thing. In America, as soon as Nirvana became very popular and then Pearl Jam, suddenly everyone predicted that there would be 40 other bands, selling millions of records. Well, it hasn't happened. In fact, what we've hit is like second generation, post-MTV, grunge, whatever, catchwords you want to use.
Yeah.
So all we've done is we've not spawned a new generation of creative people. We've spawned a new generation of imitators.
And I guess the media is to blame for a lot of that. For hype.
I think the media is the ultimate culprit. I really do, because you get any media person on the side, and they know the difference between what's shit and what's real. But they're the first ones to perpetuate myths. and they're the first ones to not lest they not get that interview for their magazine.
I see, yeah.
And different things spin the wheels around than the way that it looks on the outside.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And most music fans think that bands get magazine articles and record deals based on their merit, when everyone else on the inside, and who's everyone's basically in collusion trying to perpetuate this myth.
Okay, well, winding down to our last few questions here. Siamese Dream is, I guess, being carried by Virgin. Virgin is like its top priority. It's being handled as sort of a top priority, first priority project. How do you feel about this? Are you honored by it, or is it?
I feel I earned it. I mean, we toured for a year and a half. Our record sold 350,000 copies on an independent in the U.S. I mean, to me, they'd be ridiculous to not push it. I mean, Nirvana's first album sold 20,000 copies.
Right.
So a band comes along and an independent sells 350,000 copies. They'd be really stupid to not try and push the band. So I don't look at it as like, whatever. It's like, we earn the right just in strict terms of business.
Right. I guess the reason why he asked if it was something you wouldn't be pleased with, because it sort of carries the smell of money or commercialism or something like that.
No, I think, that's another one of those indie kind of, those alternative music myths. I think if a band, is true to itself, then what's the difference if the record company wants to throw lots of money in it? It doesn't necessarily take away from the artistic merit.
Right.
And if the band deserves it, then the band should be afforded every opportunity to be exposed to people, and so that people can have the opportunity to judge. Because there's been plenty of bands through history where the record company threw gobs and gobs of money on promotion and tried to trick everybody into writing about them, and then the band didn't sell a fucking record. So ultimately, it has nothing to do, in the end result with media, as somebody still has to go into a record store and buy one.
Right.
All the money in the world is not going to change that. So that's the thing. I mean, we will ultimately survive or break apart on our own merit, not whether Virgin decides that we're a priority.
Yeah.
Because we sold a lot of records when we weren't a priority. So.
There's a question here about, it seems to be predicated on the idea that you're some kind of a hero, because it says, do you think a hero is created by the media, or is it's just something, or there's just like a category of people who were born to be that way?
Well, the media creates a lot of paper tiger heroes, and then there are heroes that are recognized as heroes long after everyone panned them.
I wonder why this question came up, though. I mean, are you kind of recognized as some sort of a hero or savior of the alternative?
No, I think I'm recognized as kind of an, to use the word, alternative voice. And, what my status, has never proved to be one to my liking. So I've just gotten accustomed to, this kind of underdog.
But I mean,
I hardly consider myself a hero. I'm not championing any causes.
Yeah.
My ultimate concern is the promotion and the involvement of my band in our culture. I'm the propaganda, head for our little unit here. And then the secondary goal is to maybe express some ideas that will give someone an idea of what really goes on in the music business, as opposed to the myth that everyone likes to continue to perpetrate.
Yeah. Well, this overlaps with what you were talking about a second ago. One of the great myths of the alternative scene is that this idea of commercialism as death. But I think there is sort of an ongoing search for the idea of a band with integrity. And maybe what this guy is referring to is the idea that at last there is an alternative band with integrity coming to the fore.
But in America, a lot of people completely disagree, and a lot of people think that we don't have any integrity because they don't like the way we've handled our business affairs and stupid shit like that. So that's what I'm saying. A lot of this talk